Hello and welcome here on the Tunze YouTube channel. We had a long flight. We just came from Germany. We are now in Texas, in Austin, Texas, here in the US. Next to me, my friend Roger Witko, who is running Now, the first lesson, my family name is Tunze. And as Roger just said, it's Miele, Porsche, Tunze. But I'm used to pronounce my name Tunze somehow. So in most of the videos I will do it wrong, but actually it's Tunze. So Roger is running Tunze USA. For our German audience, I am the representative of Tunze. But here in the US, Roger is really the face of the company. And for me, it's now a chance to learn more about our US branch, our US customers and our facility here. In this first video, we're gonna show you around this building and we're gonna show you around how Tunze USA is working.
Willkommen.
Welcome.
So, of course, my dog comes to work with me. This is Blaze. Bruce is a big part. He can do every job I can do. So he actually started recently, but I've known him a very long time. Long-time aquarium hobbyist. Oh, he has a degree in limnology. I believe a master's actually. Probably has been keeping aquariums as long as I have, which I started when I was 8, and I turned 50 in August. This is the office aquarium, and I want to clarify this was only recently moved. I moved it 3 weeks ago. It was my home aquarium for 5 years, and this was an upgrade over a previous home aquarium. It suffered a little bit because when we moved out here to Buda from Austin, I spent a couple of years just getting the company reorganized, getting the warehouse set up, and so it suffered and I lost some corals. Didn't lose any fish though. We're reestablishing it here. It's going to take some time and some work, but we'll do a separate tour on this aquarium. So this is kind of the shipping center. Mail outs are weighed here, labels are made here. Then we go into my office. This is primarily the repair room. I do all the repairs. I work with some product testing. My Tunze tech tip videos are often made here or at the other desk. This is the repair center. It's very basic. I just have the computer terminals I need for testing and diagnostics. Soldering iron. You need a good one. I have the German equivalent of a Dremel, the Proxon tool. I think it's fancier. You can do more. You can control the speed better. Then I have the watt meters to test and the power station, all the tools, a lot of spare parts. Moving on, this is the main storage warehouse. Tunze products come in, Kessel products come in. They're inventoried and stored. When we get orders, we pull them and pack them. Right now it's a little chaotic. We're getting ready for Wrap Dallas. And so we've got goods that we need to bring to the show, display items. Everything is stored. First we have all our boxes, packing materials. Everything's in numerical orders. Products are on the main shelves here. Then if we go down this way, we have the skimmers, power heads, and everything, like I said, just increasing numerical order. Items that are bulky or sold in big quantities, they stay in the pallets. A lot of times orders are large enough that we may just ship the whole pallet. Spare parts that are small stay in these bins. You can see we stock pretty much every SKU for every spare part for products that are still serviced and have spare parts, which is quite a long time. Some of these parts go to products we haven't made in at least 6-7 years. You can rely that for years we'll be able to fix it, which I think is unique to our brand. A lot of brands nowadays are simply throwaway, and it's one of the things that really draws me to the brands I sell. I really loathe the concept that we're just making trash in our society and that everything is throwaway. Unfortunately, we treat a lot of things like that, nature, humans. Something that can be rebuilt and repaired is really something with a soul. Bigger parts, motors, they're all stored here. Power supplies, bodies, skimmer bodies. You know, it's on me to maintain the entire property. We have a lawnmower. Wow. So we're in an area that's somewhat environmentally sensitive, even though they've unfortunately loosened the rules. The rules were generally you can only cover 15% of the ground. And that's so that water can reach the aquifer and recharge. So you have to maintain the land, and it can't have concrete on it. Everything has to be permeable for the water to re-enter the ground. I've been working on the property, getting rid of all the invasive plants, trying to promote the natural plants. I need to mow to keep the plants from setting seed, the invasives, and everything's about timing so that we get the wildflowers, we get the native grasses, we get rid of things that are from the Mediterranean, South America, don't belong here. And part of that, this is another hobby of mine. I really love gardening, and I've gotten very into growing plants that are native to our area. I go out and I collect the seeds. A lot of these end up planted here. Some of them I take home. I mainly built this so that in the winter when it's freezing out, young seedlings can get a start, get established. In the summer, I keep the plants that have very regimented watering needs in here so that they're not affected by rain or other things. When they're young, they need a very precise moisture control. Most plants that are native to Texas, they are adapted to where they have a very low level of consistent moisture. If they get too wet, they die. If they get too dry, they die. This is actually one I'm really proud of. This is the native pinyon pine, Pinus remota. I collected these seeds out in Real County. They used to come all the way out to San Antonio. There's evidence even before, right around World War I time, they were extirpated because the Army thought they made really good tent poles. And so now you have to go further west to find them. So freight comes in here. This is the loading dock. Outbound, there's a lot of construction in this area. The road here right now is very narrow. And so a lot of times only the smaller trucks can back in here. It's interesting. Sometimes I get a truck driver that he's from Boston, he's from New York City, and he's like, oh, it's nothing. He can whip right around through that small corner and pull right in here with a 52-foot trailer. But that's rare. Usually the big trucks I have to load out on the street. Normally the freight deliveries, they back in because they're in a 40-foot or less. And so then this was something the city mandated we build, and that's a rainwater detention pond. It filters any water that comes off the property to collect oil or anything off the road. It comes in here and settles, and then it goes out through a drain sluice, through some rocks. Have a lot of native trees we planted around here. Bur oaks, big-tooth maples, lacy oaks, live oaks. We're in the fall time, so everything's dormant right now. Well, it's early spring, but you can start to see things coming to life. Being in a rural area, we're entirely dependent on rainwater collection. There is no running water out here. There's also no sewage, so we're on a septic system. This is something that is iconically Texas, our native bluebonnet flower. Just an interesting factoid, it's a native lupine, but the flower centers are white before they've been pollinated. Once a bee's reached them, they've turned red, and that's the sign to the bee, don't waste your time. A bee already took the nectar, I've been pollinated, leave me alone. Right after we moved here, one of the first things once the building was built, I put down 20 pounds of grass seeds and wildflower seeds. And every year it gets better and better. This isn't a good bluebonnet year. The rains we had a dry fall. Bluebonnets come up August, September, and they bloom starting now, but the big show's in a few weeks.
We are a small German manufacturer. We are a small family business. And typically for such small company in other countries, we need someone who distributes our products. And I'm super, super proud that here in the US we have our own family extended to the US. So when you buy a Tunze product here in the US as a shop, you get it directly from us. You get the service, you get the knowledge, and you get all the advantages as if you would have bought it in Germany from us. And this really is a unique selling point, being a family business that is manufacturing in Germany and also being a family business here in the US. And by the way, if you are interested in how our products are being manufactured, we put you a link down in the description so you can watch one of these videos where I show you around at home. But now I'm the tourist and I'm part of Rogers too here.
I owned an aquarium shop in Austin called Aquatech. I started this shop in '98. I had just gotten out of college. Then when I started, there was a Tunze distributor, J.P. Burleson. And Burleson was at the time, he was retiring. And I think we ordered from him for 6 to 12 months. and he retired. And then I was like, well, I have some fans that really like this product. It's a really good product. So I wrote to the factory, and it was complete blind luck that your father was headed to the US to the Backer show in, I think, 2000. And then he wrote to me, he said, I'll just come see you. And so I met him at the airport. Your mother was with him. Then we got to talking, and he said, yeah, you can order any of the products. He said, we're open right now. We hope to get other distributors, but you can definitely order. And so I started ordering. It worked really well. The prices came down, and we had a bigger market. And then after a couple of years, your father and your grandfather was still active in the business at the time. I went to Interzoo. Actually, it was the 2000 Interzoo, and we talked. And then 2002, I went over for Interzoo. And they said, look, it's not really working having all these distributors. You're the only one that repairs things. And we have to direct every other distributor's customers to you to get things repaired. We want to teach you how to repair everything, and we'd like it if you would be the US distributor. So I agreed. I was honestly, at the time, I was running Aquatech. I was, I think, 22, 23. And the main thing about working in a retail fish store, I was working 7 days a week. It was often chaos. Fish would come in at midnight. I had to be there. There was no personal life. And a goal I had in my life was I wanted to get married, I wanted to have kids. I thought, you know, if I could move into distribution, this is a way I can better my own life. I did it. I ran the store simultaneously for a few years before I sold it to my two business partners. I had two managers at the time. Then I started doing this full time. I think the main draw I always had to Tunze was the quality was high, and when mistakes were made, it was a very sincere, like you were talking to the person who built it, and don't worry about it, we're going to make it right. I remember one of my first meetings with your father. He said, yeah, we made this skimmer 10 years ago. It had a design flaw. Somebody has it, let us know. We're going to take care of them. And I was very impressed. I was like, well, you made it 10 years ago. That's come and gone and time to move on. He says, yeah, but if you leave a bad taste in someone's mouth, he said, you know, you can't make everybody happy, but when you know it's your fault, you need to do something. It's always been that way. To me, it feels like if I was running the company myself. I never have doubts that somebody has my back. I never have to worry that somebody's going to say, yeah, we messed up all these products, and just hide and go in a closet for a while. There's nothing we can do about it. And the other thing I like is that it's really made in Germany. I've always been a big fan of, you know, when I go to buy anything, if I need a tool, if I need something for the kitchen, Germany, American, Japanese, I try to avoid the lowest of the low that's just mass produced and the quality's known to be poor, and I'm just going to throw it away. And for me, a huge part of my loyalty is that I feel like I'm part of a family. It's always felt that way. When I go visit you, when I stay with your parents, I feel like I'm visiting my parents.
You know, when I was younger, Roger bought an iPad, and on this iPad, he let Apple wrote, for the Tunze family, the best friends you could ever have. And this was in our living room. And so I was more like a child in this period, and I was impressed that someone is that close to our family business. I knew you, but not in the way I know you today. Now we have seen some parts of this business here. The goods are stored, we ship it, we repair things, but there's so much more. And in the next weeks and the next videos, we're going to show you a lot of these things. We just roughly had a look in detail. So in the next videos, we're going to learn more about the US market, more about US customers, and especially more about Roger and why he is so important for us and also you. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next videos.